All right, fellas. So we've done a video going over my favorite weapons in Destiny of all time. And in this video, I just want to give a shout out to some of my favorite underrated weapons. Now, I have 5 main ones and 3 honorable mentions. This is an opinionated based list, and some of these weapons have a little bit of a personal value to them, at least for me, as this is an opinionated list. That being said, the first weapon is Apex Pro. Did I have you going? I had you going the first half? All right, let's talk about the honorable mention. So just this real quick tidbit, I want to talk about this weapon, okay? Because it's very niche in situations where you would want to use it, but in the situations where you would want to use it, there's not a better weapon to use than this weapon. I'm talking about the Riskrunner. That's right, I got it with the Chargers ornament. And if you're not an NFL fan, that is the blue and yellow one. And the reason why I have this weapon here is just simply because its main exotic perk gives it so much value. Anytime you are in an encounter where there's a lot of arc damage being thrown at you, this is always just a pretty good weapon to put on just to have the extra arc resist damage and the fact that you just won't be reloading because of arc conductor. You'll be chaining lightning very easily consistently, so you can clear out ads very fast, and those same ads at that same time are hitting you with arc damage, fueling your arc conductor, and it's a pretty nice synergy. There's no skill to using it. Just feel like in situations where there's arc damage, bro, this weapon comes in clutch a lot more often than you think it would, and I had to shout out the Riskrunner. All right, now this next little honorable mention is just a little bits of home for me. All right, Arianas Vow, bro. I don't know why I like this goofy hand cannon so much, but it just kind of reminds me of a Desert Eagle. If you guys ever play Call of Duty, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Just the very hard hitting pistol. That's what Arianas Vow reminds me of. And it did receive a buff to where whenever you break any anti-barrier shield, they're going to ignite. That's cool. This is also a very solid weapon for Nezarek's crits, a niche spot. It's also really good for oracles, another niche spot. I think this weapon has a little bit more potential with its recent buff and changes, but there's certain situations where this thing is really good in. So I wanted to mention it, and I really like the Arianas Vow. All right, this next honorable mention, I feel like some of y'all are gonna look at me like I'm crazy, but hear me out, all right? Because this is a weapon that, like, just a little over a year ago was getting glazed left and right. I'm talking about the Supremacy, okay? Ever since rocket pistols came out, they've really taken over the special ammo kingpin slot. And Supremacy, I still feel like it's the best sniper in the game. It just has so much utility. You obviously have the infinite shooting roll of 4 times the charm and rewind rounds, which, yes, you can literally shoot your entire reserves without reloading with that roll. Definitely a little silly and unique, but it is at least there. You also have something like the rewind rounds being switch roll if you ever want to use that in some sort of swapping rotation. However, by far and away, my favorite roll on the Supremacy, the one that I use the most, because I do have a crafted version of each of these 3 rolls that we have just mentioned in my vault, but I like the rewind rounds and kinetic tremors the most. Enhanced kinetic tremors on a sniper rifle procs in only 2 shots, and on a rapid fire frame sniper rifle, it's bink, that's tremor proc right then and there. Allows it to be, for a sniper rifle, pretty good at dealing with like a group of ads, especially if there's a healthier one you can hit 2 shots on with. It's really good at stunning champions, dealing with champions. It has good ammo reserves because it's a rapid fire frame. You can shoot it for long periods of time because of rewind rounds, and the kinetic tremors, whenever they hit something, that actually works towards your rewind rounds, and you can shoot this version of the Supremacy for very long stretches without reloading it as well. Now granted, you can't reapply kinetic tremors until the first shock waves have passed, at least 1 second after that, but it's still a very strong legendary special weapon in the kinetic slot, and it's really one of my favorites. Now, rewind rounds kinetic tremors roll has gotten a lot of use out of me. All right, let's talk about our top 5, because some of these y'all probably weren't expecting, and there's no exotics here. These are legendary weapons, okay? So just hear me out, all right? This one, I don't even know what, this thing is such a goof, all right? The Marcelin C. Do you even know what that is? I mean, you might not even know what weapon that is. That is a heavy solar grenade launcher. Rapid fire frame style, which is all the rage these days. And I'll be honest, the reason I have it on this list is because it's like the only good solar heavy grenade launcher in the game at the moment. Like, you can do like an Envious Cascade or Envious Explosive Light. They are definitely not modern day rolls that you're looking for on modern day grenade launchers. Granted, this was a world drop that released at the start of Lightfall, so this was before pre-bait and switch grenade launchers, but it's the only good solar one. And rocking with this season's artifact mod of Breach and Clear with the tonic up, some Sanguine and Icebreaker action, Chill Clip grenade launcher is your kinetic slot weapon. Hey, this thing actually can be kind of nasty, bro. Kind of nasty. If you're on a warlord, don't forget your sanguine. And that's honestly why it's here, because it's the only good solar heavy grenade launcher in the game. Therefore, it's a little bit underrated because people don't use solar heavy grenade launchers. All right, now this next weapon, I've sung this weapon's praises for a couple years now, as this weapon, it really feels like it doesn't get as much love for how useful it can be in some situations. All right, and because it's a legendary weapon, you're not forced to cough up your exotic slot for it. All right, y'all ever heard of Sweet Sorrow? Huh? Yeah, bro, Sweet Sorrow. That arc rapid fire frame auto rifle from season 16, the same season that launched with Witch Queen. Yeah, oh yeah, we're talking about that auto rifle. Why is it here? Okay, 720s are, in my opinion, the best frame for an auto rifle in PvE. And then you combine that with stats for all and one for all, aka you just hit 3 targets, you get a huge buff to your handling, reload, and your damage. I think one for all is like a 35% buff. I mean, dude, for that little work, just to get all those effects, get your weapon rolling, get the engine going, oh, that's useful. And on top of that, I feel like the main reason why I have to put this weapon here is because of its origin trait. Land tank stacks with your resilience. If you got like woven mail and overshield, it stacks with all of that. Meaning you have a legendary weapon that can make you tankier. Dog, that's useful. That's really useful. That's a piece of utility that no other weapon has in this video. I feel like that's a very unique strength for the Sweet Sorrow, and I've used this in some pretty difficult content. Like day 1 Kingsfall, I whipped out the Sweet Sorrow. I sure as hell did, my man. And while I don't consider this weapon to be a dominant force in the sandbox, it's definitely a diamond in the rough and an underrated gem in my opinion. Shout out to you, Sweet Sorrow. All right, from one auto rifle to another, this of the Void Affinity. Y'all might, okay, this one y'all might look at me like I'm a bit of a, like, what the hell you talking about, bro? Just hear me out, all right? The Rosaro 4, ooh. This is a world drop weapon that dropped with Season of the Wish. And the main reason I like this was because this was the, like, first main auto rifle you're able to get Onslaught on in a long time, right? Like, this thing shreds. 600 frame, 600 RPM, and you get Onslaught up to ×3, you're shredding. You're doing some shredding. On top of that, this thing gets things like subsistence and rewind rounds in the 3rd column to pair with it. I personally like rewind rounds a little bit more. And this thing is an absolute bullet hose. It reminds me of the Atheon's epilogue from Destiny 1 Vault to Glass with how fast it shoots, the way it sounds. And auto rifles are way better in this game than they are in D1, at least at the end of that game's life cycle. And the Rosaro being this kind of little nasty bullet hose auto rifle and being void, you compare that with Gear Falcons, bro, this thing slaps. Real talk. I feel like this is a weapon that every time I use it, I'm like reminded as to why I enjoyed it so much the first time. Like when I first made the video for the Rosaro a year ago, I was genuinely surprised by how good it was performing. I was like, wow. And ever since then, it's just been held in a high regard, at least in my head. And anybody out there that has the Rosaro with Onslaught on it and have used it, you guys kind of get where I'm getting at with this, because it's a very fun bullet hose weapon. It's void, so it works really good on Void Hunter, especially if you cannot cough up your exotic slot. This is a great supplement there. So the Rosaro gets a mention in the video. Hell to the yeah, baby. Anytime I can mention those 2 auto rifles, I love to do it. That's why we're here. All right. Look, this next one, there's a lot of people that go back and forth with me on this, okay? I personally think it's best in slot what you're going to use this weapon for. Other people tell me there's really good alternatives and substitutes, okay? This is a very old weapon, the oldest legendary on this list, and there's no reskin for it either. So there's the one edition of this weapon that dropped a long time ago. It's the Vulpecula. Vulpecula haters in shambles. Yeah, that's right. It's here. It's in this video. I know some people are gonna be looking at me like, what? A 180 stasis hand cannon gets a spot in this video? Hell to the yeah, bro. It sure as hell does. Why? I'll tell you why. Banshee sold a roll of this hand cannon that ever since I bought it has become my favorite type of weapon in that slot with this type of roll. Anybody who bought that same Vulpecula as I did from Banshee, y'all know the exact roll that I'm getting at here. Shoot to loot and explosive payload. I know there is this divide in the community between, what's the right phrasing for it? I guess the more casual players and the more hardcore players. Now, I'm trash, but I play this game a lot more than a casual does, but I'm still trash. But I like this weapon a lot, so I get the value and understand why hardcore players like it so much. I feel like Shoot to Loot is a perk that you can't fully appreciate until you've used it in situations where you're not getting any of that ammo unless you had Shoot to Loot on one of your weapons. Okay, have you ever had a heavy brick fall off the map? Have you ever had a heavy brick spawn very far away from you and you're about to move on through the GM, you're about to go into damage in a raid or a dungeon encounter, and you just can't get that brick in time? Maybe that situation you really needed that brick. Hell, maybe you needed some special you need to pick up far away if you're doing something like DPS on the Witness, right? Having those special bricks loaded, especially when Cell Hunt was meta, just shooting boop, boop, get a couple bricks, it reloads your weapon for you, so you skip a reload animation and you can go continue right back into the DPS phase because you picked up more ammo with your Shoot to Loot weapon. And explosive payload allows for you to have a lot more wiggle room in picking up those bricks with Shoot to Loot. You can practically just hip fire, and if you're just in the same almost like zip code as those bricks of ammo that you're trying to pick up, explosive payload is going to hit it and you're going to pick it up. Which, whenever you're trying to just get ammo in a very time crunching manner, whether it's right during, maybe it's in the middle of during damage phase, right before damage, while you're doing something entirely else and you only have like a time to get one shot or two at it, having that explosive payload to pair with your Shoot to Loot is very, very good. And it stasis, so it'll build that side of your transcendence meter very quick. Okay, now people say, bro, the hung jury with Shoot to Loot explosive payload is right there as well. Yeah, dog, I'm not taking a scout rifle over a hand cannon in this game, ever. I don't care. I'm taking the hand cannon every time over the scout rifle. That's just me, all right? And as far as I'm aware, this is the only hand cannon with both Shoot to Loot and explosive payload. So yeah, Vulpecula haters, hop off. I like this hand cannon, and it gets a spot in this video. And that leaves us with one weapon left. What could this bad boy be? I don't feel like many of y'all would guess what this weapon is, okay? It is a weapon that launched with Season of Defiance, the same season that launched with Lightfall, and I have made a solo video on this weapon, giving it its flowers, back in February. It's a kinetic weapon, and it's the only legendary special weapon of these 5 not in the honorable mention. Obviously Supremacy, but it's in the honorable mention tier. This weapon is more underrated than Supremacy by a long shot. It's an aggressive frame shotgun. It is the Imperial Decree. Love this shotgun, dude. So where in situations will this weapon be good? Well, it's a very, very hard hitting special weapon, okay? Now, damage rotation wise, generally if you're that close to use a shotgun, you're generally gonna wanna have like a 1-2 punch on it to pair with, you know, shotgun melee, especially if you're on a banner titan, any sort of prismatic class with synthoceps on the class item. But this shotgun has auto-loading holster and surrounded, okay? Auto-loading holster, cool, we don't have to worry about reloading it. And then surrounded is obviously a very, very strong damage buff. Surrounded is the highest damage buff on this shotgun. I think it's still the highest damage perk in the game still, if you can get a proc. What's it set at, like, what, 47% on bullet weapons and like 39% or something like that for swords with enhanced surrounded. So if you are in content with a lot of elites, majors, just those pesky and tanky yellow bars, this shotgun is perfect for it. Because it's an aggressive frame and its damage is so high and it has surrounded, this allows you to dispatch those types of enemies with very good efficiency. Better efficiency than the Supremacy, better efficiency than any of these other weapons, except for the March Limit. That's a heavy weapon, you know what I'm saying? I'm not comparing a special to a heavy. I'm not gonna do that. And this just kind of gives you a big fat sack to be packing with whenever those enemies trying to pull up on you. You whip this bad boy out, it's gonna be reloaded because it's got auto-loading holster now, and it's an aggressive frame shotgun, so it's got really high amounts of damage at base. Oh, and you got surrounded. Yeah, let me shoot some of this lead in your face. Yeah, you're dead. What was that? Oh damn, it was like 100k plus. Oh yeah, it's a special ammo legendary shotgun that just did that. Yeah, I respect the damn Imperial Decree, my boy. This thing's got some heat. This is one of my favorite shotguns in the game, just because it's what it's doing. I'm not using any other shotgun to do Imperial Decree's job. Like, I have plenty of 1-2 punch shotguns in the vault. I think the Ikelos is the best. Conversation for a different day. But I'm not using Imperial Decree as a 1-2 punch. I'm using this thing to dispatch quick. Pow, pow. That's how we operate with this bad boy. It's a real hard-hitting shotgun, and for the job that I like to have Imperial Decree do, there's no shotgun that's gonna do it better. So Imperial Decree owns a spot in this video. And that's my list, all right? Our honorable mentions, we had a Riskrunner, Arianas Supremacy, and then our 5 underrated weapons were Marshall and C, Rosaro, Rosaro, Vulpecula, and Imperial Decree. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this. I want you to leave your top 5 underrated weapons down in the comments below. And yes, I am working on a very big production at the moment. It's taking a lot of my time right now, as it's the most ambitious project that I've ever wanted to take on, and I want to make sure this one is done right, because if everything goes right, I got a movie for y'all that y'all gonna want to watch here soon. Y'all take care.